Welcome, 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 my people, to my newest psychic reading on mediumship tarot reading, actually, on Queen Charlotte of Great Britain. All right, Queen Charlotte is actually a great, somewhere there, great, whatever it is. She's a great, or great descendant, to some degree, of Queen Elizabeth II, who just recently passed away last year, actually. And now King Charles has taken, the reins, so therefore she's also a descendant of King Charles, because King Charles is the son of Queen Elizabeth. So basically, Queen Charlotte goes way back to, the beginnings of the royal family. And actually, Buckingham Palace, it is said, used to be was made specifically for her, I believe. She ended up, let me just give you a quick story for those of you who may not know. Some of you may know who she is because, her story has been told through the Bridgerton series, Queen Charlotte, which I have not watched yet, but have heard is really good. I think it's available on streaming platforms or some sort of streaming platform, which I probably have a subscription to but never use. And it may be the same case for you. But yes, Queen Charlotte was the wife of King George III. King George III allegedly did suffer from some mental health issues towards the end of his life. I believe Queen Charlotte, once again, I'm not necessarily a historian, but from what I know, Queen Charlotte passed away allegedly before King George. Most not all, but most of I believe Bridgerton or the miniseries, Queen Charlotte miniseries, quite a bit of it is accurate. Some of it is not accurate. A big thing that I want to touch on and see what's going on with is whether or not she was actually black or African American or African or black descent. Because that would mean, therefore, that Queen Elizabeth II and King Charles and the royal family would have some African ancestry DNA. Which, now with the technology in today's age and our understanding of race and ethnicity to some degree, wouldn't be really shocking or surprising, to me, to be honest. But, it is what it is with that. So I, just want to see what I pick up spiritually around Queen Charlotte. If you're new to my channel, I'm Lamarr Townsend. I'm a psychic, a tarot reader, an astrologer, a medium. If you would like a reading from me, I am available for readings, actually. My books are clear. I actually spent all day earlier today doing readings, doing candles, which I still have some candles to get to, and things of this nature. So, yes, if you would like a reading from me, definitely check out my website. You can, first of all, as it says here on the screen down there, you can text me, all right, at 703-791-9162. I am also available for international clients as well. I do have WhatsApp. You can email me at lamar.townsend@gmail.com, or you can visit my website, lamartownsendtarot.com. That's probably the best place to reach me. This is my website, so once you've reached this page, you know you're on the right page. All right, so this is my website. You can scroll down, and you can read reviews from people who have actually purchased readings from me. You can also follow me down here on Instagram and Facebook if you want to keep in touch with me, more regularly than YouTube. And also, if you would like your own reading, you can go right to the store section because that's where you can go to view all of the rates, services, and different products and things I do offer. I do offer quite a lot. So there's some variety, when you come over to Lamarr Townsend Tarot. I offer phone readings, of course, 30-minute phone readings, hour phone readings, 15-minute phone readings. I do also offer email readings. I offer video recorded readings where you make your payment, send your questions, and then once I've received your questions, I record myself doing your reading and then email you that video download link to keep within 1 to 4 days or less after you've sent your payment. I do also offer natal chart, birth chart readings, both individual and compatibility natal chart, birth chart readings. I also offer different types of classes, including spiritual development classes, which is a big hit with those who take that class. In that class, I basically teach you, how to develop a spiritual routine. It's really good for new beginners who are new to spirituality and kind of want to learn the ropes and the basics of spirituality and how to have a fruitful, an abundant spiritual life, but also a healthy spiritual life. So I teach you all those things in my spiritual development class. Also, I teach you astrology in my astrology class, and also I teach you how to read tarot in my tarot class. So there's different types of classes. I also offer mediumship readings if you want to connect to loved ones who have passed on. I also do offer past life readings if you want to learn about your past lives. Some of my readings are also same day priority, so if you purchase them, you have the option, certain ones at least, such as phone readings, mediumship readings, past life readings, all have same day priority. Where if you purchase it, at a certain time of the day, you have the option to get that reading that same day. So I definitely recommend that. And also, yeah, I do dream interpretation readings. I do candles, custom candles, blockage removal candles, protection candles, love candles, money candles, so on and so forth. So if you'd be interested in any of those things, my clients always leave very satisfied when it comes to me, and I am very proud of the work that I do. I take my job very seriously. So thank you all for being here. Make sure you also like, share, and subscribe. And let's get into it. I just got back from the gym. I have not taken off my head wrap. I have not done anything with my hair. Luckily, my hair still looks good. After I do this, I'm actually going to wrap my hair. So let's get into. I wonder if Queen Charlotte wrapped her hair. If she was black. Let's get into it and see. All right. Let's go ahead and do a quick singing bowl. Once again, make sure you all like the video. Thank you for opening up a channel so that I can connect with the energy of Queen Charlotte and Queen Charlotte's life of Great Britain. Thank you for cleansing and clearing this space of any lingering energies, of any negativity, of any lingering energies from any past readings. Thank you for protecting my energy, my thoughts, my mind, and my emotions, protecting my space, protecting those watching this video. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Father God, for providing clarity and insight. Amen, amen, amen. That's always so relaxing, right? All right, y'all. Let's get into it and see what we pick up from Queen Charlotte. All right. Once again, let me preface and finish what I was saying about her earlier. It's not necessarily confirmed whether she does or does not have African DNA. She, I believe, died in, I think, 1818 or in the early kind of 1800s. And that's all that there is known about her. At least that's all I know about her. All right. Whatever else I'm going to learn about her, I'm going to learn through spirit. So let's go ahead and tap into it. Okay. Mm. Once again, let me preface this by saying I have not watched Bridgerton or anything on Queen Charlotte. Um, I don't know why I get a connection. I get a connection between Queen Charlotte and Cleopatra. Now it's quite interesting, all right, because one thing with Queen Charlotte and Cleopatra is whether or not both of them were black or whether or not both of them had ancestry DNA. Now, I've touched on Cleopatra and whether or not she had ancestry DNA or whether or not she was black. So go ahead and look that up, on my YouTube channel. I think it's also, there's something, maybe something on my, it might be for members. There's a part one and part two. Part two might be for YouTube members only or something like that. I don't know. But also there's something about, I think, a blog post on my website about it too. So check out my website if you want to see that video on Cleopatra. But I feel like there's a connection between Cleopatra and Charlotte of Bridgerton, or Charlotte of Great Britain, Queen Charlotte of Great Britain. But in the sense that I feel like there's something where maybe actually Queen Charlotte of Great Britain was inspired by Cleopatra. in Cleopatra's reign and rule and power as a female. Like I do get a strong connection between Queen Charlotte and Cleopatra. I feel like to some degree Queen Charlotte may have been actually inspired by Cleopatra. Of course, Cleopatra came way before Queen Charlotte. You know, or Cleopatra, I think that I'll give you just an example, of how distant these two are. Cleopatra historically died, I believe, 30 years before Jesus was born. Or was it 30 years before Jesus died? I think it was 30 years before Jesus was born. So basically, Cleopatra was a lot. Cleopatra's era and reign was around Jesus's time on Earth. So just to give you some context of historically what we're dealing with. Um, but that I know, or you may not know that, on this channel, I am a big follower of Cleopatra. I have a deep spiritual connection to Cleopatra, so, that's a very interesting connection to pick up on for me as well. Like, I think Queen Charlotte may have been intrigued or interested by Egyptian culture. I'm almost like going in, tapping in, and like asking the question, like, who is or who was Queen Charlotte? I see a woman. She looks to be like no, maybe no taller than like 5'5" or 5'6". This definitely could be Queen Charlotte. She's wearing kind of one of those old, very like back in the day kind of gowns that are very puffed up. In the boot, very much like in the picture she right here actually. But it's a bit more like toned down. It's less regal, less royal. And I feel like there's something where she's wearing like pink or some version of like pink or lilac or something like that. She has a hat on, and I feel like she's pacing. I feel like this woman is pacing. It does feel like she's at like the top of the stairs in almost like a mansion. An 1800s or a 1700s mansion. Almost like a plantation kind of mansion, if you can imagine that. I'm not sure if this is Queen Charlotte or if this is like another female though. I'm not sure. Like I just see this female pacing, back just back and forth. For some reason, I feel like there's some sort of like unrest outside. Like there's people protesting. There's people upset outside. And then I think Queen Charlotte steps into the picture, but it's almost like she's a child. Now, one thing I do know about Queen Charlotte is that she was a German princess, before she ended up marrying King George when she was young. And I say that to say what I feel like I'm seeing is I feel like she was born into wealth. Like she was not born into poverty at all. Like it's almost like imagine like a modern day, like I don't know, like a Chelsea Clinton or Malaysia, or I can't think of the Obama sisters, the Obama daughters. Like it's almost like the early beginnings of Queen. That would be Queen Charlotte. The early beginnings of Queen Charlotte. Like I feel like she grew up in like a politic kind of family, or a family that was associated with politics in some way, shape, or form. But there's also something where very at a very young age, there's something where Queen Charlotte understood the disparity between poverty, people who are impoverished or going through poverty, dealing with poverty, versus the wealthy or the privileged. And of course, she would have been on the privileged side growing up, or as a young child. So she was kind of born into this, or born for this, kind of her being a queen, as a young child in the probably late 1700s. You know, historically speaking, timeline wise at least. All right. But there's almost like something about, even though it was a stressful situation, and I feel like this older woman pacing, I feel like is either Queen Charlotte's mother or like grandmother. And it's almost like this, whoever this mother figure is, like it's almost like they kind of pull Queen Charlotte as a young child over to the side and pull her close to her, and it's like like they want Queen Charlotte, this young Queen Charlotte, to see like the civil unrest going on outside of this mansion or outside of this building, whatever it is they're in. I don't know if it's their actual mansion or if they're in some sort of building, once again, where there's just unrest and they can't walk outside. They can't leave the building because there's almost like so many people, I feel like, protesting outside the building. And it looks like people who are more so like impoverished. So I don't know everything historically that was going on around that time back then. But once again, this is what I'm seeing. I'm looking around for like water or something like that. I hear a candle popping over there. All right, spirit. I get. Hopefully that's a good sign, spirit. Or is it Queen Charlotte? Queen Charlotte, just know that we come in peace, love, and light. You guys know that I do have, by the way, side note, I did an ancestry DNA test, and I have ancestry tied to Great Britain in the UK, actually. I kind of want to pull. Oh my god. Can I pull it up on here? I might be able to pull it up on my phone. Let me see if I can pull it up on my phone real quick. Hold on. By the way, I want to point out that my camera is not popping right now, interestingly enough. But let me see if I can, like, make it. I want you guys to see. Alright. So these are my DNA results. Alright. Your DNA looks like most DNA from these 13 regions. 20% Nigeria. Not surprising. 19% Cameroon, Congo, and Western Bantu peoples. Not surprising. 15% England and Northwestern Europe. So I have 15% DNA for me uh, that goes to England. That's connected to England. Great Britain. All right. All right. So, do am I connected in some way to Queen Charlotte? Maybe. Well, maybe not her, but you know what I mean. All right. So, I have 15% Mali, 9% Ivory Coast and Ghana, 9% Benin, Togo, 5% Senegal. Interesting. 2% Southern Bantu peoples, 2% Norway, 2% Wales, 2% Ireland, 2% Denmark and Sweden, 2% or 1% Scotland. So very interesting. So I don't know. I just found that interesting. Whenever I like do the royal family and stuff like that, I always say, I always like feel like I always remember the fact that I have so much DNA connected to England in my ancestry that I'm like, oh wait, I forgot. Like I like this is like kind of important. This should be a little bit important to me. So once again, I don't know if that was Queen Charlotte's energy or spirit making that candle crack, but child. All right. Okay, yeah, we're good. I feel like once again, by the time she married King George and became Queen of Great Britain, sometime in the late 1700s, I think she was ready and fit to be queen. Like I think her upbringing, I think the most important thing in terms of her upbringing that prepared her to be queen of Great Britain, because once again, remembering she was born in Germany. She was born German, right? But one thing that she was taught growing up in her, growing in her young years in Germany, was there's something about being taught how to be a lady, back in those days, and how to be a. I hear the word courtier. To me, that means like basically how to be a partner to someone else, how to be a wife, how to be a husband. In this case, it would be how to be a wife. So I think that's what benefited her the most when it came to taking on the throne of being queen. Everything else I think she learned as she went along. And I hear she was a quick learner. But there's also something about the style of dress that was a little bit different in German versus in Great Britain at the time that she had to get used to. Also, something about the style of wearing her hair. I'm actually wondering if the real Queen Charlotte suffered from like scalp issues or like alopecia or something like that at some point. I also hear the word diabetes, so I don't know if she suffered from like diabetes or, of course, diabetes can deal with like blood sugar. So I don't know if she had like a sweet tooth or was like very heavy on carbs. I almost feel like she had like a sweet tooth, but it was like a sweet tooth when she was stressed. Queen Charlotte, or she may have been at the very least like maybe like pre-diabetic. Like there's something with that. I feel like she would often get stressed because like there's something where once again King George would have his like once again he suffered from some sort of alleged secret mental health issue. There's something where like Queen Charlotte had to step up to the plate when King George was not able to do so, and it was difficult to do so being a woman, but also in some way, shape, or form being seen as a woman who was different, even though she was trying so hard to not be different or fit in. I feel like her real hair was probably like red, brown, or like a brunettish kind of like hair color. Although I feel like she often wore like wigs or like wig pieces. Because I definitely see her almost like a modern day. You know, how it's like some people like have their wigs on like every wig has its own mannequin head. I feel like she was that kind of way to some degree. Where like every she was very particular about her wigs. I feel like very particular about her hair. I feel like she only showed her real hair to like King George or like certain courtiers or certain people she was close to, in her entourage. Otherwise, for all appearances, it was like she had certain wigs she would wear, and I feel like they had like their own mannequin or spaces. Like there's something where she was very like almost like a Virgo energy. I would be interested to know what her zodiac sign was. Like very detailed, almost like OCD kind of thing. Like everything has to have its specific place. There's something where she took pride in being a mother and getting pregnant. There's something I literally hear. I literally hear this, and I'm just gonna go with it. But once again, this is all alleged for YouTube entertainment purposes only. But once again, like I hear her almost like this feels like it's in her voice. It's like a bit. It's the least I could contribute. Or it's like there's something where like if she didn't do anything else, she bore children. Like she was useful to the throne, and the king. Once again, remembering that we're in way different times than we are now. Now we have women's bodies, women's their opinions, kind of thing. We have different things going on when it comes to gender equality or addressing gender equality and things of that nature. But it's almost like once again I feel like there's something where Queen Charlotte was bred to be. I don't necessarily want to say housewife because that kind of downgrades what like she was bred to be. She was bred to be. Oh, like I don't know. The best way I can put it is I feel like Queen Charlotte was bred under the guise of you be a lady, you acquiesce to your man, you make children for him, you abide by the rules, God's rules, the divine rules, whatever it is. Like I feel like that's how she was bred. Of course, she had certain educations as well, but I feel like she was raised towards a certain trajectory that she ultimately fulfilled. All right. But there were certain things that came with the trajectory she ended up going on that she was not prepared for. One of those things was King George's mental illness. Another one was actually like taking the throne. She wasn't necessarily she was good at learning as she went along, but she was not bred to actually take the throne. Or she was not raised initially to take the throne. She was raised to represent the throne. Does that make sense? But she defied the odds, and I think that's where once again the connection between her and Cleopatra comes in once again. Where even though she was kind of raised and molded to be this way, there was something different about her. There was something different about Queen Charlotte. That's part of what I think captured King George's attention with her, or the people around King George. That's what brought them together. The fact that Charlotte was different. She wasn't a normal princess. Like there's something about her values or her morals. She knew how to make a perfect princess. She knew how to make the perfect queen in terms of the image, but there was more to the image than met the eye. She knew how to take a pretty picture. She knew how to put on a perfect image. She knew how to wear a gown. She knew how to please her public. She knew how to interact with the public and, be a queen in those ways. But there was also, a facet of her, behind the scenes that was, it's almost like when you're the host of the party, you're focused on making sure everyone is good and everything is okay. And you can't get too caught up in the moment. You can't get too caught up on, someone spilled a drink on someone over here and now they're fighting, or there's this or that going on. Like, you have to, like, stay focused. And I feel like there's something with Queen Charlotte where it's like she could be the host of the party, but she knew everything going on, every little detail she saw. You know, but she would smile in your face and act like she didn't see it. Kind of thing. Very observant, very smart, very. I feel like she had something about like a good memory too. I feel like she could be very critical, especially when it came to like music. I feel like music in particular. I feel like she could also be very competitive. I feel like she had a little bit of like a competitive side to her, Queen Charlotte. Was she black or African? Did she have African or black ancestry? I do feel like she could have some African ancestry, and an interesting kind of twist. I don't know why I see like it could go back to like in some way, shape, or form like slavery or something like that, or enslaved people. Like, it's almost like the privileged interacting with the non-privileged kind of thing. And I go back to that image that Spirit was showing me of her as a young child having that experience between the privileged and the non-privileged. I think that was like a mirror of her ancestry in some way, shape, or form. Would it have been a large part of her ancestry? Like, I feel like if she did in fact have ancestry DNA, which I do feel like it is highly possible she did, I feel like I get like 15%, you know, which is still a large percent. Like, the percent of English or whatever DNA I had on I had on my thing. I feel, but it was still a pretty large percent, right? I feel like it's not just black though. Like, I feel like almost like a Cuban energy, or like a like very dark skinned, but it feels like Cuban, Dominican, something like that. Portuguese. I think that there was a connection between her and Portuguese. So I think yes, there is was African black, as well as other darker skin toned ethnicities or DNAs in her ancestry that I will say it this way, that would have shown in her physical appearance. This is actually said right here in this picture is said to be a portrait of her when she was alive, that was taken while she was alive. So, I mean, she kind of looks like, she's very light skinned in this picture, but she kind of does look like someone who could pass as, mixed, Some people are mixed, and you would never tell, I know a lot of people like that. So once again, it wouldn't be surprising if that was the case. I keep seeing something about like man or a man, like almost like a dark skinned Portuguese, Dominican man or something like that. But if that even is that is the case, like say this man I'm seeing maybe is like, I don't know, could be the father of Queen Charlotte, or could be connected to Queen Charlotte in some way, shape, or form. Even though, for example, even though this guy is Portuguese or is Dominican, it is possible that this guy, who maybe could be the father of or whatever, the uncle of, I don't know, Queen Charlotte, this guy could have black ancestry, which once again would therefore, through that connection, would mean that Queen Charlotte would also have black ancestry. So in some way, there definitely is a connection to either African American, African or black or Dominican or a darker skin tone ancestry that was probably blended out or washed out a bit over time by the time it got to Queen Charlotte. But I feel like this ancestry goes back to like the 1600s, so it would have been maybe it would have been washed out at least maybe over maybe 100 years or almost close to 200 years by the time it reached Queen Charlotte, which is why it's, even though she kind of looks like, it's kind of like, if you squint in this picture, it's kind of like, she could pass as this or that. By the time this DNA reached Queen Charlotte, it would have been a little bit more blended out or washed out. All right, over time. So I think that's where we get Queen Charlotte and her ethnicity and the way she looks. I feel like there was something about her real hair, the hair color. Once again, I get like a reddish auburn or brownish or, brunette kind of color. And I feel like there's something about her nose and her eyes. I also feel like there was something about her hair texture too. I feel like her hair got really frizzy and almost like if she went too long without washing it or brushing it, like it would like almost like frizz into an afro. How you would see certain black African, Dominican, certain maybe even certain Hispanic people, Latino people, Portuguese and things like that people experience with their hair, So there's definitely something there ethnicity wise, um, where she was probably not. If we were to look at her ancestry DNA, she probably would not have been 100% German. No. Keeping in mind that when we get with certain people and we have children with certain people, that person's DNA can activate a certain part in your DNA that can come out through the child you have. So that once again could be something that happens with Queen Charlotte. It's like maybe everyone in your family has come out, as pale as the snow or whatever it is, but all of a sudden you have someone in the family that gets with someone who's a bit darker skinned or a bit olive toned, and suddenly you come out with a child who's like darker, not pale skinned, maybe even darker than both parents, kind of thing. There may have been something in either or both DNAs that was activated. It could have been activated over 100 1,000 year period, but DNA is DNA, and DNA continues on through lineage. So I feel like there's something in Queen Charlotte's DNA that definitely is not all fully 100% Caucasian, white, German. We'll say allegedly for YouTube entertainment purposes, which would show that Queen Elizabeth, King Charles may have some, also um, ethnic or darker skin toned DNA in them as well. But once again, I feel like this DNA, by the time this DNA reached Queen Charlotte, it was watered down, so we can definitely, Queen Charlotte had Queen Victoria, so, Queen Victoria got with her another man, they had, so they had children, then we get Queen Elizabeth and then King Charles. By the time it got to King Charles, um, and so on and so forth, it was even more watered down, right? I feel like that's also something why the royals were and are very particular about who they get with, because they know about like certain DNA activation and stuff like that. And, it's almost like they may not want any mishaps. Which may also be why allegedly Meghan Markle may have been such an issue initially. But, anyways, that's a different story. Especially after this whole Queen Charlotte situation. Interesting. But despite her ancestry, which I think even she knew about, she had to. What's the word I want to use? She had to, at the end of the day, fulfill her role as queen, and she had to acclimate to British way of life and British royal way of life, to be specific. And part of that may have been required her to hide certain parts of her ancestry in order to be accepted. Not and not a out of date concept. This is still a modern concept that kind of still happens today in society. People having to kind of dumb down certain parts of themselves or hide even certain parts of themselves and their ethnicity in order to fit in order to pass, right? So I feel like that's Queen Charlotte's story. Now I'm gonna check the cards. Let's go ahead and see what the cards have to say, and then we will end this reading. So let's get into the cards and see what they have to say. All right, and we're black. Let's go ahead and get into the reading. I only really have one question, and it's a question we've already kind of touched on, but I want to see what the cards have to say. Thank you for cleansing and clearing the energy of this deck many past reading. Amen, amen, amen. I want to know once again via the cards, did Queen Charlotte of Great Britain have black or African ancestry or DNA in her ethnicity or her racial makeup? Did Queen Charlotte of England did Queen Charlotte of England have any African or black ethnicity in her DNA? Let's see. Get the Wheel of Fortune connected to physical appearance, how one saw themselves, how other people saw them. The Wheel of Fortune can be tides turning in one's favor. She definitely had an ethnic appearance about her in person. She may have been very light skinned, she may have been very pale skinned, but there was something about her features that were unique, I'll say. Especially for Great Britain. She almost gives me like a Jackie O vibe or energy. You know? Like the pre Jackie O kind of thing. But star card connected to money and finances. She definitely grew up wealthy. Star card could be a card of things aligning perfectly. Queen of Wands is facing that card. This could be an Aries, Sagittarius, Leo, or Gemini female. I wonder what her zodiac sign was. What was her zodiac sign? I wonder if that's something we can find out. Queen Charlotte zodiac sign. She was a Taurus. This would be an Aries, Sagittarius, Leo, or Gemini female. This could be connected to sibling energy, secondary family, so aunts, uncles, cousins. This is facing the star card. The Ten of Cups connected to family, home, and emotions. Did she have African ancestry or DNA? Page of Swords shows up, connected to purpose, creativity, self-expression. This could be a young Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, or Leo female. This could be her, Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus female. Connected to work, job, daily routine. Facing the Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups could be a card of someone pursuing their own self-interest. I get the King of Swords, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, male showing up here. I get a lot of people showing up here. The Death card shows up, which is a card of endings, evolution, change, growth. The Death card could be... The Death card shows up in a placement of ethnicity, being open-minded to different cultures, races, creeds. You know, if she was of a different race or ethnicity, she wasn't connected to it. It's kind of like being born with ethnic features because you have it in your DNA, but not in any way being connected to that actual ethnic culture. So you don't even know how to deal with, first of all, the fact that you look different, but also the fact that you're not connected to the people you kind of look similar to or look like. So it's almost like you don't fit in anywhere. It's almost like she either was biracial or, once again, she had ethnic, she had maybe black, Dominican, Puerto Rican, African, whatever it is or was, back then, DNA in her, but she was not attached to it, or it was not something that... It may have been known in her family, but it was not something that was necessarily celebrated. Alright? Five of Wands shows up connected to the past, connected to fatherhood energy. I feel like she may have been more connected to maybe her mother or her mother's side of the family than the father. And maybe that's where the ethnic or that DNA, that kind of, ethnic black, dark-skinned DNA comes from with her. Because once again, I feel like it's distant, but it's still in her DNA. Alright. Trying to think of another way I could ask the question. Oh, okay, I'll ask it this way. Let me ask it this way. Because I kind of got an answer there, but I kind of want more clarity. Does or did Queen Charlotte of Great Britain have any African or dark-skinned ancestors? Even if they go way back. Did or does Queen Charlotte of Great Britain have any African or dark-skinned ancestors, even if they go way back? Six of Pentacles shows up. Six of Pentacles is a card of negotiations. It's a card of contracts. The Nine of Pentacles shows up, connected to money, finances. Once again, I think she had a privileged upbringing. The Page of Pentacles is facing that card. You get the Queen of Wands connected to motherhood energy. This maybe could be her mother. This could be the mother facing Queen Charlotte as a child. This could be an Aries, Sagittarius, Leo, or Cancer female. The Lover's card shows up connected to purpose, creativity, self-expression. Did she have African or dark skin tone ancestors? The Empress card shows up connected to work, job, daily routine. Five of Pentacles. The Page of Cups. The Eight of Cups. The Eight of Swords. Nine of Swords. There's something with her father. The Devil card. It may have been, the Devil card shows up in a placement of secrecy. So it may have been even something back then that maybe even then she didn't touch or didn't talk about or didn't know a lot about. We know, that's, been something that's been going on since the dawn of time where, There's a lot of secrets in families and stuff like that. So I feel like this relates to like a secret, or that's not something we touch or talk about, or yeah, we know about it, but we act like it doesn't exist or happen, kind of thing. Like the devil card it shows up in a placement of secrecy, life behind closed doors, one's hidden strengths and weaknesses. The devil card can be a card of toxicity, a toxic connection. So I think this ancestry or DNA that she had in her lineage, is not something that was widely like accepted, talked about, or there was an energy that she was maybe proud of, or that the lineage was proud of. I feel like it's connected to the father, or the father side of the family. Because even Eight of Cups, in the placement of ethnicity, open mindedness, culture, religion, things of this nature, Eight is a number of the father in the father side of the family, the past. I feel like this is something she didn't even emotionally want to deal with or address while she was alive. The fact that yes, she has this ancestry in her DNA, and it showed up in her appearance. It showed up in her hair, her physical appearance, her features. All right. So this is just, like a lesson in genetics. You know, if you have the genetics in your DNA, then it could show up at any time. It may not end up showing up with you, but it could show up with your child or your descendants. Of course, it can be washed out as new people are added to the DNA, right? So, but if your DNA, matches with someone else's DNA in terms of descendants, then that could bring out certain DNA in the child. I feel like that's what happened here. Like there's a certain DNA in the mother and a certain DNA in the dad that birthed Queen Charlotte, that brought out these features in her because of their overall ancestral DNA combined. All right. Definitely not purely German, not purely white or whatever it is. All right, so the final card is the out with the old and with the new card. Interesting. Out with the old and with the new. What an interesting final card. This is connected to the number 16, all right, as well. So it says, notice there's a little girl here with an angel behind her. Interesting, like pushing her, guiding her. All right, it says heaven is showing you a sign that it's time to move in a new direction. Often it's because you're not happy and feel a lack of purpose in your life. This is a wake up call to make changes that match your heart's desires and spiritual truths. Heart's desires and spiritual truths. I think Queen Charlotte in her waking life struggled with being accepted. She knew she was different. She knew physically she was different, and that there was something deeper to her appearance and her ancestry. But she was never really allowed to delve deeper into it. So therefore, it was never really addressed. It was, we don't talk about that. You are who you are. Focus on being a queen. Focus on being a lady. Focus on finding a husband. You're privileged. This is what privileged women, in society do. You pass. That's all that matters. You don't look, like what you may be. That's all that matters. You know, if you can go along, if other people can, believe the illusion, then go along with the illusion. Like there's that kind of energy there. So once again, this Queen Charlotte, even though she's a Taurus, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some oppositional like Virgo and Pisces energy in her natal chart, all right, in some way, shape, or form. Maybe one day we could do a natal chart reading. I'm kind of running out of time here now. This reading has gone on an hour, so I might do a natal chart reading maybe another day, y'all. I'm gonna end the reading here, so I hope I was able to give y'all some clarity and insight. If you would like your own personal reading, once again, I am available for personal readings, and I would love to read for you. So do not hesitate to reach out. You can once again text me at 703-791-9162. I am available for international clients. You can email me at lamar.townsend@gmail.com or visit my website. That's the best place to reach me once again. LamarTownsendTarot.com. Once again, once you've reached this page, you know you're on the right page. This is my website. You go right to the store section. This is where you can go to view all the rates, services, products, classes, and candles, and different types of things I do offer. And we do have a moon coming up. We just came out of a Mercury retrograde, so I definitely recommend you get your candles, y'all. Get your money candles, your blockage removal candles, so that you can start the new month of June as we go into summer solstice with good energy. You know, summer solstice brings new beginnings and a lot of growth. All right, you all. I love you all. Thank you for listening and watching. I'll catch you all in the next video. I'll talk to you in your own personal reading. Either way, I'll see you soon. Love and light.
Psychic with a T, the psychic with a T, that's me, that's me. The one with the T, the one with the T, that's me, that's me. When the planets align, spirit speaks on time, that's me, that's me. When the planets align, spirit speaks on time, that's me, that's me. When the trolls be gone, candle work be strong, that's me, that's me. When the trolls be gone, candle work be strong, that's me, that's me. I don't care what the others say, let's channel some energy today. I don't care what the others say, let's channel some energy today. Capricorn, Virgo, Libra strong, this tarot card reading about to be long. Capricorn, Virgo, Libra strong, this tarot card reading about to be long. Psychic with a T, the psychic with a T, that's me, that's me. The one with the T, the one with the T, that's me, that's me. When the planets align, spirit speaks on time, that's me, that's me. When the planets align, spirit speaks on time, that's me, that's me. When the trolls be gone, candle work be strong, that's me, that's me. When the trolls be gone, candle work be strong, that's me, that's me.